Hi, my name is Janet, and this is The Unseen Weave. I think this might be a long video today because I'm pretty well through a period of integration. Our community choir rounded up our spring session with our 2 live performances on Saturday night. And so that concludes that joy. And I've been doing a lot of reflecting on what the experience brought me, what I gained from the experience, what I learned about myself, what I value. And so I'm probably going to do a lot of crying. And that's okay because there's really so much deep emotion that's coming up. So far I have 5 pages of notes. And I want to do a video because I want to use my voice and express this gratitude for everything that I've learned from this experience. And I want to record it here so that I never forget. So it starts with how I learned about the community choir. I'm grateful that the library has a bulletin board, and the choir posted a flyer there in February. This is the beginning of June. This is June 1st. And in February, when I was standing in front of that board with all the flyers on it, it touched me deeply about a community choir. And I took a picture of the flyer in February, and it said February was a free month. Well, I thought, well, I want to think about it. And so I didn't do anything about it initially. But I did take a picture. Early March, after I'd thought about it for a while, I thought, I think I'd like to do that. And I went to look for the picture in my phone, and I couldn't find it. And I remembered that I had gone through my pictures like a week before and was deleting things. And I deleted it then, I think. I don't remember why I deleted it, if it was by accident or not. Anyway, I had deleted that photo. But now, I know I want to sing in the choir. And I don't remember who was offering it or anything. And so I couldn't find any information on a community choir. So a week later, I'm on Facebook, and a page popped up about this group called Next Door. And they had things going on in my local community. So I posted a notice in that group. And does anyone know about a community choir? And everybody said no. And I was a little disappointed. But then the next day I thought, well, I wonder what else is in this group that I might be interested in. And that led me to Washougal and Camas Community Events website. I went to that website, and there was the same flyer about the community choir. So I called, and she said, yeah, come on, join us. So I showed up the next Monday. So that all those little synchronicities, adding up. This is the unseen weave in life. So I joined choir. Okay. So that next Monday, that first Monday that I went, I was nervous, excited. There's a nervousness, and I realized there's a difference between anxiety and nervous excitement. And if you're not paying attention to that, they kind of feel the same, except Nervous excitement, nervous excitement is moving you toward something that you want. Nervous anxiety is fear. And it's a different place. This was a nervous excitement. It was an, oh, I really want to do this and I'm scared to do it. It's almost like I was scared to disappoint myself. You know, like I had this hype in my mind, and what if it doesn't meet that? That's nervous excitement, that you really want it and you're afraid to hope for it. And that's what I was feeling that very first day when I went to choir. So when I got there, we started singing, and I said I was an alto. There was only one other alto. She was an older woman, not as old as I am, but older. So we immediately were buddies because she was so happy to have another alto. So that first night when we were practicing, I had a lot of self-doubt creep in because I hadn't sung since I was in high school sang in the church choir. That's over 50 years ago. Other than singing in the shower or singing in the car. And so I noticed that my tone, I didn't have very much of a range. Breath control, nope. I was going to need help. I realized that very first night, wow, I'm going to need to learn this. So I invested in a keyboard. So I invested in this thing that I was loving. I invested in it. I invested in a keyboard, and I started practicing my part every day. I set up all the music. There's 5 different songs, and so I put them in a binder. I tabbed them so I didn't have to get the pages all mixed up or anything. In practice, I would highlight on my music how she was, notes that she was giving us. So I did the things that I knew would help myself to do a good job. Okay, one of the things I loved was the encouragement from the others. It's all women. It was all women at this point. All ages. There were some high school girls, and I was the oldest one. And so a big range, mothers, young mothers, older women whose children, midlife woman, children gone. And so it was a beautiful mix of ages, all coming together for the love of singing. And it reminded me of all the individuals in the world, but coming together in unity for this one purpose was so beautiful. It was like there was no age gap. We were all there for the love of singing. I love that. And the honesty of this group, the honesty of these women, holding up their, can we pause a minute? I am just not getting this part. Can I hear that again? And then practicing it over and over again. Or sometimes she'd have to break us into groups, and one group would go practice over here and another group would practice over here. But they weren't afraid to say, hey, I'm not getting this. And everybody took their turn doing that. I'm having trouble with this part. This part's rough for me. And we were all supportive of that because we knew what it felt like. So it was a wonderfully supportive group. And as I saw improvement, that you gain momentum when you start seeing signs that the work you're putting in is of benefit. You started seeing the improvement. Oh, the first half of that song was so great. And the group was bonding. the day that she was interviewing people to do solos, I decided to listen. And there were several high school girls that were doing solos. There were women, by the way, so many of the women there were there on a Monday night. They left their husbands at home. And if they had kids, the husbands were at home with the kids so that they could go and enjoy their passion. I love that. I love that these women were pursuing their passion and leaving the husband at home with the kids. And so a lot of these women who wanted to do solos, they weren't afraid of being seen. And we're not professional singers. None of us are professional singers. So these women who said, I don't mind being out front, singing the way I sing, just like I am. And it was so beautiful that they didn't mind being seen in their imperfection. That was beautiful. I really started to notice that I was enjoying it. Really, really loving and enjoying it. So much so that I was in love with it. And then I started feeling, oh my God, is this going to end? I was afraid. I was so loving it that I became afraid I was going to lose it, which is so much like love, right? And so I asked the choir director, is this going to continue? Because I started having this fear inside of me of losing this wonderful thing that I loved. And she goes, yeah, we're going to continue in the fall. And I was so happy, only to find out 2 weeks later that she decided her bandwidth was full and she couldn't continue. And then I was devastated. So I had gone from loving it to fear of losing it to confirmation that it's going to continue, only to find out that it's not going to continue, and to have the loss of that. And I cried like a baby when I got home. The grief that I was going to lose this wonderful thing. But instead, I had to say to myself, well, Janet, if this is the only time you're going to do this, if it's not going to continue, then you better enjoy the hell out of this. You better really love it. And so I just immersed myself in all the moments, all the moments were just so beautiful after that. Every person, every note that we sang, every measure that we completed, I was like, I love this so much. I love this so much. Okay. I think I'm going to continue this in a part 2. See you soon.